Oh gosh, dear guy. What is up everyone, Gels from Fitment Industries, FI Garage, and welcome to a series that we are starting up on this channel that is all about, well, what wheels can fit certain vehicles. And we're going to be properly calling it What Wheels Fit. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe, wheels, tires, and suspension, fitmentindustries.com. And I hope that you like numbers because you're about to get hit with a whole lot of them. So today we're gonna be going over and taking a look at the Volkswagen GTI and specifically the Mark 6 variant, as that is what we see is most popular in our Fitment gallery at the moment. And if you don't know what I mean by the Fitment gallery, you can hop on over to fitmentindustries.com. Check it out, brother. It's a fantastic tool to find out what kind of wheels, tires, and suspension fit your specific vehicle. It's an absolutely amazing tool to use. There's tons of cars on there. It's over 17,000 cars at the moment. It's absolutely insane. And it's actually what we use to find all the data that we need to make this video for you guys. So starting off with the Mark 6 GTI, we have the guaranteed fitment range of that lists diameters of 17 to 20 inches with widths ranging from 7.5 to 9.5 inches. Within this, we have average offsets ranging from plus 35 to plus 50 millimeters, depending on the width, of course. Now, that is a pretty big range for guaranteed fitment, and for anyone else, we would leave it at that. Say, there you go, bud, cut and dry, let you go on your way. But this is Fitment Industries, and we don't settle for basic. So we're gonna go over a few different types of fitment that we see the most on these cars and give a few examples of what setup you would need to go with to get that said fitment. So starting off, a tucked fitment. Now this is going to be perfect for someone who wants the wheels to sit inside or stay inside of the stock fenders. Now maybe you plan on going onto the air suspension route, which is really popular on the GTIs, or if you just don't want to have to worry about interference or rubbing or any of those other issues at all, the tucked fitment may be something that you might be looking for. Or maybe it's just your style. For diameters, even though you can get away with a 20-inch wheel, we would recommend sticking within that 18 to 19-inch diameter range. For widths on a tuck setup, anything between an 8 and 9-inch width with offsets right around plus 35 for the 8-inch widths and up to around a plus 40 for the 9-inch, or maybe even a 9.5 with a little bit of a higher offset. Just note with these tuck setups, if you plan on running a bigger brake or upgrading your brakes, that you're gonna wanna check for clearance when you start getting into those higher offsets as it pulls the wheel in towards the vehicle. So we usually see a lot of these types of setups rocking either Rotiform BLQs, 3SDM004s, or any of those sorts of wheels. Now, of course, those style of wheels are going to work on these cars really well, and they offer them in a lot of different sizes, so you can get different fitments with that same style of wheel. So just some quick examples of some tucked fitment for the Mark 6 GTI. 19 by 8.5 plus 35, 18 by 8.5 plus 42, 18 by 8.5 plus 45 if you want to run a bit wider tire, and then a 19 by 9.5 plus 40 are some fantastic examples of a tucked fitment. Moving on to the next type of fitment, flush fitment or nearly flush fitment. Now these are going to be fairly similar to the tuck setups as far as sizes go, but mostly with a little bit of a lower offset or a wider tire setup. Now for the most part, 18 by 9.5 with a plus 35 offset and an 18 by 8.5 with a plus 35 and a similar offset and wider tire are going to suit you just fine. And those are going to be what we see the most of for this type of fitment. Either an 18 by 8.5 or a 19 by 8.5 with that plus 35 offset seems to be like the ticket for that type of fitment. Now on to everyone's favorite, especially when it comes down to the GTI. Fender to lip. Now this is going to be for those looking specifically either on air suspension or some stiff coilovers to get that nice fender to lip fitment. And typically, this is where we usually see things start to get pretty crazy, both with the sizes and offsets, along with the amount of tire stretch that is being seen on these vehicles. So we see the widths bump up to around 9.5 for the most part as the standard, and offsets start to dive a little bit lower into the plus 25 or even down to like the plus like 10 and 8 range. So let's just go ahead and list off some examples of cars that we see in our gallery with this setup. Starting off, we see an 18 by 9.5 plus 35 on a 205/40 tire on air suspension. This is going to be a pretty typical setup. However, we also start to see people start diving into somewhat of a staggered setup to get that fitment dialed in just the way they like. And also here comes those wider widths and offsets. Just note a lot of those cars have some custom fabrication to get these wheels to fit as well, whether it be metal fab or removing liners or anything like that. So if you're looking to run a staggered setup, here are some examples of that. 18 by 9.5 plus 12 in the front with an 18 by 10 plus 8 in the rear. 18 by 9 plus 45 in the front and an 18 by 10.5 plus 27 in the rear, and an 18 by 9 plus 27 in the front with an 18 by 10.5 plus 27 in the rear. Now there's just some good solid examples of people that really wanted exactly that fender to lip look, really dialed in the fitment, took the time to do the measurements, and now you don't have to because they already did. So there you have it. Hopefully this helped you out in the journey of finding the right wheels for the fitment you want for your car. If you own one of these Mark 6 GTIs, and if you're like, Gels, I want to see more examples, I didn't see exactly what I want. Well, not to worry, bud, because we have plenty more of these cars as an example over at fitmentindustries.com in the gallery. You can find the link below in the description as well. Like I said, it's a fantastic tool to use, and don't be afraid to add your own car to the gallery. Every car that's on there, an owner has added to the gallery, and we're absolutely thankful so we can provide this kind of information to you guys. So let us know down in the comments below what car you would like to see us cover next. I am Gels. We will see you later. Peace.